One of the biggest problems beginner sprayers encounter, and experienced sprayers too, is drips, runs, and sags. This is when the paint is sprayed on too thick and gravity wins and pulls the paint down. This can happen when you are moving the sprayer too slow or holding the sprayer too close, overlapping too closely, if you have the paint flow set too high, or if you go over the same spot twice accidentally, or any combination of those. Here you can see a sag. If you remember from an earlier video, dark paint is thinner and runs easier, which is probably what caused this mistake. Runs waste a lot of time, as they take a lot longer than a normal coat of paint to dry, due to the extra thickness, and then of course you waste even more time repairing them and respraying. There are some tricks to getting rid of a run before the paint dries, but for now, let's go over how to properly sand one away and repair it. Sanding off a run isn't just as simple as going to town on it with the electric sander. You have to be careful not to sand too much and take off the primer, as you will then waste even more time spraying the primer again before you spray the top coat. You also don't want to leave an indentation. Because we are on our third coat, we already have probably close to a millimeter of material dried on the surface. This may not sound like much, but if you sand it all away in a small, concentrated area, you will be left with a visible indentation. The trick then is to very lightly go over the focus spot with just the edge of a super fine sanding pad, and then also go over the surrounding area with the whole surface of the pad to feather it out. You can see here that it's almost gone, but there's still a slight ridge showing on the left. There's also a little bit of white primer showing through, but this is okay, as long as we don't go through the primer and reach the wood. After a little bit of finesse and patience, the run is now completely gone, and we can spray another coat. Hopefully a little thinner this time. Earlier, I mentioned there were some tricks to getting rid of the runs before the paint dries. As you watch me respray this door, let's go over some of those. Often, if the surface is small, the best thing to do is just really quickly wipe all the paint off with a wet rag and do that piece again. This saves a lot of time, as you won't have to wait around for it to dry, then wait a second time after you redo it. If the surface is too big to wipe off, such as this large door here, you can also grab a mini roller and just roll the drip into the surrounding area. This will leave a roller texture, which we will have to sand off later, and we'll still have to respray, but this option can be a lot more efficient and save a lot of time compared to just waiting around for the drip to dry. Sometimes though, you just don't notice drips and runs until later.